The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
First Week Podcast coming to you July 16th today or 15th today? I'm kind of thrown off here. It's 16th today.
I think today's the 16th, yeah.
It's the 16th here. And familiar voice there in the background. You see that? It's our old friend in the pod.
How we doing?
Marc Francois on the show. Marc, you know, we were scheduled to do this podcast last Friday. You kind of ghosted me on that, but I'm kind of glad you did.
Oh, dude, my day totally blew up on me. And then I looked, I was like going through my text messages later. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
My day on Friday went completely apeshit.
But I'll tell you what, with all the events that happened in the last like 48, 72 hours, kind of glad I did.
Better off.
Yeah, kind of better
blessing
off
in disguise.
Exactly. So I'm really happy we're here to do this. I told you yesterday, I said, listen, let's get this in tomorrow. We got to get this in tomorrow. Let's lock it in. You and I, if people listen to the podcast for the last 10, 13 years, Marc is my go-to guy. We talk about politics and stuff in the show. Things have not cooled off at all in the slightest.
You don't say.
Let's just start here first. Obviously, we know the situation with Donald Trump. What happened on Saturday, this rally in Bethel, Pennsylvania. There was an attempted assassination attempt on his life. Thankfully, he's fine. His family's fine. I mean, there were some tragedies. Of course, there was a gentleman who got killed, protecting his wife and kids. God bless him and his family, of course. The shooter obviously is dead. It's been revealed already. I have not said the name on the podcast. I refuse to personally. But let me ask this first to start this off. Where were you when you found this out about the assassination attempt?
All right. Well, first, let me say we're obviously going to venture into some topics and talk about different theories.
Yes.
And I want to make clear that, when we discuss different elements of this and different layers of the discussion, that doesn't necessarily reflect your or my view, number one.
Correct.
And number two, that I don't want to be reductive about any of the tragic shit that took place over the weekend.
Yeah.
2 people lost their lives. A very serious act of political violence was committed. This is all very, very tragic and, sadly on brand for where we are in America right now. So I'm trying to think, what the hell was I doing on Saturday? Oh, no, I was just sitting around the apartment, doing chores and playing MLB The Show and doing that kind of. So I was right there on my phone when shit kind of started popping off and all the alerts start, dinging and whatnot and group chats blowing up. So I'd be lying if I said my first reaction wasn't set up. He's trying to have a Hinkley moment or something. Yeah, I don't trust much anymore.
Right.
And I don't want to be cynical, but you asked me my opinion. That was my first thought. It was is this really what took place? Because it just, the guy's a WWE Hall of Famer. Don't tell me he doesn't know what a blade job is.
He is though. The thing is, we laugh about it, but that is a thing. As a guy who's a WWE guy who was watching wrestling all the time, this is a thing. This is true.
So yeah, it's one of those things, we're never going to know what really happened. It's going to be conflicting stories, conspiracy theories, ad infinitum into forever. So I think move forward and focus on and not allow it to serve as a distraction from the very serious things taking place, the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the continuing encroachment of fascism on our national process, and the threat that those elements in the far right pose to our ability to maintain this democracy and republic. So, yeah, I think it's a very tragic and telling example of just where we are, relative to gun violence, relative to political violence. But look, while this was directed at President Trump and while it was one of his supporters that was killed, like, I'm at a point where, like, this is happening because of what you've been saying for the last 9+ years, Mr. Trump. Like, political violence in this country has ramped up and been directly incited by this man and his followers and surrogates. Like, they call for violence against Hillary Clinton. They laugh at violence when it's committed, say, against like Nancy Pelosi's husband. And then they immediately start saying shit like, I don't want to hear another word about J6 or like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You guys? Like, it's just also fucking disingenuous. And when you're talking about something as serious as gun violence and the thousands of people who lose their lives every year in America needlessly because of the number of guns and the accessibility of guns in our country, like,
You
fucking
think about it,
spare me.
you think about
Spare
it,
me.
it's nothing in the office. In other words, like, okay, another gun violence. It just happened to be the president,
Yeah.
president of the United States.
It's like that meme I posted on my story. It's a picture of Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada, and it's like,
Right.
you took a bullet in America, groundbreaking. Like,
And almost, I think all those things apply. Like, I obviously have a very more moderate view of this whole situation. Obviously, I did a podcast on Sunday reacting to it. Kind of like this kind of calm down the. So
mhm.
I think both sides definitely have a say in helping the rhetoric of where we're at today. But yes, to your point,
Sure,
I go.
many
Mhm.
parties have a hand in the inflamed nature of our national discourse. Like that, of course, that's true. Left,
Right,
right, center, far left, far right. Everybody's got a hand in that.
right. But I always say, like, if you want change, I go back to my my all time favorite artist, Michael Jackson, "Saw a Man in the Mirror." Look at yourself first. Look in the mirror. You want to make a change? Starts with you. If
Yep.
see what you're doing first. Too. Are you
Yeah.
bettering the situation? Are you um inciting things? Are you
Yeah.
bringing the rhetoric to a crescendo? And then another thing to us too is
Exactly.
that, okay,
And look, I don't want to make light of a tragedy or suggest in any way that the man who lost his life deserved it, but like,
right,
look no further than his Twitter and you will find some pretty horrific takes on tragedies and things like what's happening in Gaza. And so, it is hard to remove yourself from the fact that if it's in 2024 you are piling your family in the car to go watch Donald Trump speak, you support tacitly or wildly enthusiastically the things he puts forth. And that's not to say that there should ever be violent. There should never. There's no reason for violence in these things.
absolutely.
I believe that people who espouse horrific racism and misogyny and homophobia and transphobia and stuff like that, I believe they have no place in polite society. I think they should lose their jobs. I think they should be, outcast by their neighbors. But that doesn't mean anyone deserves to die for those beliefs.
Right.
And while I think the people who attend Trump rallies are idiots and assholes, they don't deserve to die for it.
Right. Oh, it's free
However,
speech. We're allowed to have that opinion. That's okay.
yeah, of course, that's the point. It's not against the law to be a dick. Like,
Yeah.
but unless you do it to your coworkers and
Except in my house. It's my kids. You can't be an asshole. Sorry.
But like, once you've recognized that, it's difficult to divorce yourself from the reality of what these people are, have been and will continue to say. And that is, you know, women should stay, as we transition to JD Vance, women should stay in violent relationships. They shouldn't have bodily autonomy. Queer kids should be put in cages and their parents who support them with them. Immigrants deported, birthright citizenship stripped, persecution and prosecution of political opponents and dissenters. Like, they're very, very, very dangerous positions that the GOP in this country is standing on. It's no clearer than Project 2025, and that Project 2025 is the platform of the Republican National Convention.
Yeah.
So, it sucks what happened. It's a tragedy what happened. That man's wife and children, having to see him killed right in front of them. That's horrific. But I think, we can't let this be a distraction from the fact that these people are seeking to limit our ability to have a say in our government, and they want to rule by power and iron-fisted law enforcement.
See, the thing is, nothing's changed for me in terms of because there's a lot of people says well, I was on the fence about who to vote for, and now with this happening, I'm in for Trump now. Which, okay, I get it, but it's like, what policy changed between him
That
not getting
lends
shot?
to my hoax. You know what I mean? Is like, duh.
Well, true, right? It does, but it's like, first off, what we know, and it doesn't even matter, but what we know is that the shooter was a registered Republican who supposedly donated to a Act Blue PAC in 2021.
But it was that was years. I think he was 17 at the time, and it was like $15 or something.
Right. And the thing is, why is always the assumption that if something bad happens to Trump, that automatically it's someone on the left side or leftist?
Oh yeah, it was
Antifa
shit. It was Antifa shit already started because. All right, my mom has an old saying, I call it one of her hillbilly sayings, but it's, folks have a tendency to measure others by their own yardstick. Mm-hmm. So when the group suggesting, mocking, and inciting political violence is acceptable in this society, has political violence visited upon them, what are they to assume? Measuring by their own yardstick. Of course, they're going to assume it's somebody doing that because that's what they think is an acceptable means by which to resolve conflict. Unless the person on the other side of the barrel is a leftist.
Right. It's easy to assume that. And look, we don't know what this kid's beliefs were in the end. I mean, and again, you could be a Republican and vote for another party. That is possible. Is that
dig into my political past. You're going to find donations to President Bush. You're going to find a long history of voting for Republicans. And then guess what? I started reading books and having, some life experience and distance from the little white suburban bubble that I grew up within. And my worldview shifted.
I met you in 2012. You were a staunch Mitt Romney supporter in 2012.
Yeah, exactly.
You run this podcast, Mitt Romney.
I posted. I remember one getting made fun of by a bunch of homies for posting this meme that was like President Obama, the hope, or Comrade Obama, the hopiate of the masses, and it was like this very Lenin, like Soviet kind of like political poster meme that had like an Obey vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like. People grow, people change, people get radicalized. For example, we talk we have talked in the past, and the information is readily out there if you want to look into the documentaries and stuff. But like one of the fastest or two of the fastest pathways to right-wing radicalization are video game lobbies and online message boards. So you have lonely guys who are, say, maybe liberal and have a hard time getting girls, and they end up it doesn't take too many hop, skips, and clicks on the internet to find yourself in an incel forum or in a woman hating forum. And those things are iced oiled slopes right into far right fascist Nazi ideology.
Yeah.
And anyone who studies hate and the encroachment of white supremacy in this country and the sharp rise in white supremacy since 2009 will tell you that this is a direct thoroughfare into alt-right radicalization. Video game lobbies and message boards, which is where lonely young men tend to hang out.
Yep, there's certainly a lane in that. Absolutely. So coming into the weekend, and we'll get to Joe Biden in a second, because that was for the first time for a 2-week period prior to this weekend. For the first time in these 8 years that Donald Trump has been in our political ecosystem, he was not front and center the number one topic. Joe Biden was. And we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, and not for good reasons.
Exactly. It was pretty clear. It felt clear that Donald Trump had pretty much a cakewalk, close to a cakewalk to the finish line to winning the election in November, and then this event happens.
Yeah, I think this just sealed the election for him.
Now, with that happening,
for a few different reasons too. Because, for example, the classified documents case that was just dismissed by Judge Aileen Cannon while everyone was talking about, his cut year. That was the case that, in my opinion, and granted, not a lawyer and don't play one on TV, that was the case that had the highest that was the federal case that had the highest probability of forcing Donald Trump to go to prison. Because if you get convicted of possessing or mishandling classified documents, it's pretty open and shut what happens to you. And so it's interesting to me that the case that, in my understanding of law, history, and politics, was the most threatening to Trump now has been dismissed by a judge he appointed.
Wait, are you saying that the one in Georgia is not as
that's a state case? This was a federal case. True. So that's what I'm saying is the biggest obstacle to him being able to regain the presidency would be being convicted of a federal crime.
Right. And that's not
state crimes, in my opinion, would be murkier. Because he's just been convicted of how many 34 counts in New York of fraud and whatnot. So, the cases he's facing in New York and Georgia, to me, don't pose any real threat of jail time. But mishandling classified documents under, was it Title 18 or something like that, is crystal fucking clear. And Edward Snowden will be the first one to tell you that the Justice Department tends not to play on Title 18.
So let me read this quick for the listeners. The federal judge overseeing Trump's classified documents case in Florida dismissed on the grounds that the appointment of and funding for special counsel Jack Smith were illegal. Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump nominee, said that in her 9-3 page decision that Smith's appointment was unlawful and unconditional. The clerk is directed to close this case, she wrote.
However, her dismissal also is devoid of things like case law precedent and, the underpinnings of a traditional legal decision. So this is likely to be overturned. However, that will then kick it immediately to the Supreme Court, and we know what's going to happen when it gets to the Supreme Court.
Right.
Yeah, 6-3. Exactly. And a scathing dissent from Justice Sotomayor or Justice Brown Jackson.
Right.
So
what a mess. What a mess.
Yeah. This is, honestly, this is how democracy dies.
So this was the case that he should have been most concerned about. Was not the Georgia case. Obviously not.
Sorry, say that again.
So this is the case that he should have been most worried about initially. Not so much the Georgia case.
In my opinion, yeah. I think the one that is like the most polarizing, obviously, is the J6 stuff because it was a literal fucking insurrection.
Right.
However, to me, the one that had the most imminent threat of sending him to prison was the classified documents case, because, like, just think about the elements of it. Those documents have to be held in a SCIF. Not having those documents in a SCIF is a violation of Title 18.
Right.
Violating Title 18, go directly to jail, do not collect $200. Like, it's bing, bang, boom.
So
There's really not much to it.
Because it kind of sounds like they dismissed it on a technicality. That's what it sounds like to me.
It sounds like it was done on a whim, because, like I said, if you dig into that story, or if you look at some of the stuff that, like, say, Qasim Rashid has been putting out, in regards to his analysis of it, they break down better than I'm doing right now, and I didn't read it all at length. I more just kind of skimmed it, so I don't remember all the elements off the top of my head. But if you check out Qasim Rashid and some of these other people like him, you can dig into some of the specific, we call it, legal vacancies in Judge Cannon's dismissal.
Right. Okay. So a lot of wins for Trump here. He avoids getting murdered.
Yeah.
He's polling.
I mean,
well
this. I mean, what have we
states.
been saying? What have we been saying for 6-9 months, though?
Yeah.
The road would be cleared, and he is going to win.
He's from, and the first thing I hate to say this. The first thing I said myself on Saturday when this happened, like, obviously it crossed my mind about being staged and inside job. It crossed my mind about that. I'm more in the camp of, I believe it's closer to an inside job than it's a stage thing. I think
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, it feels like he wanted his Reagan Hinckley moment,
right?
And the, like, almost got martyred kind of thing. Because think about it this way: the nucleus of every argument being put forth on any pressing issue in the national discourse by the GOP is rooted in grievance politics and victimhood. White men are being persecuted for being white men. Christians are being persecuted for thinking gay people shouldn't exist. On and on and on and on. It's grievance politics. So what the fuck else would they do with it but then try to make him into a goddamn martyr?
Right. Now,
and I mean, we're watching it happen in real time.
Time.
You can see it because, like, you and I both follow people in our personal lives who are on all sides of the political spectrum.
Oh God, yeah.
And what I think you'll notice that's different about this one is that a lot of people who don't typically talk or post about politics, probably in our lives, the I never watch the news crowd, were posting, like, prayers for President Trump, when a few years ago they were posting that President Trump was unhinged, because they really don't know what the fuck is going on. But I think that's an important. I think that's an important bellwether to see the average citizen who is a casual consumer of news and politics to go, to look sympathetically upon President Trump and then start making jokes and sort of cheering the memes and, like, hardest picture ever kind of bullshit.
I actually was very pissed about that. Like, my whole day from, like, after the shooting, my whole day from like this. You have all my friends in group text who are all throughout the world, like throughout, like, different political backgrounds. Some are liberal, some leftist, some are
all over the spectrum,
some are conservative, and they're all sharing these memes, whatever. And I'm disgusted, because I'm like, and it has nothing to do with necessarily with Trump. It's more my mindset as a human being. The devalue, and this actually might link up to the whole thing with Gaza too. Also, what's going on in Gaza, because you don't see it unless you see it. The devaluation of life in general. Everything's a fucking joke now. No one cares. If Trump gets shot,
we are so unserious.
We are so unserious about life as a whole, regardless of who it is. That we make memes about, like, minutes after he almost gets shot. And I'm not even a Donald Trump fan. I don't like the guy, But
no,
no,
it's look, this is terrible. This is sickening. This is not sickening. Funny. However, I can't say that without saying, but this is also a manifestation of what you have been inciting for the last 9+ fucking years.
Yeah, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, now words." Okay, people say getting mad at Joe Biden. It's about Donald Trump being in
Like
the
President Biden has never suggested people deserve to be punched in the face. President Biden has never cheered for people getting beaten up at his rallies. People getting beaten up at his rallies has never made national news.
What was the thing he said? Biden said last week. It's all about you give him in the bullseye, and all of a sudden Joe Biden's out at blame for that. But you're the same people that said when Donald Trump said that you're Mexican rapist too. Also, you told me, oh, he didn't mean it that way. So now
when he told
No.
when he told the New York PBA to smack perps heads into car doors and shit like that.
So words matter now because your guy is affected by it. You know what I'm saying?
He makes all these like tongue-in-cheek wink nod suggestions. Like, when he was talking about Hillary Clinton one time, he was like, she wants to abolish the Second Amendment. And, if she can appoint the judges, there's nothing you can say about it. Well, maybe the Second Amendment crowd will have something to say about it. I don't know.
Right. My point is, you don't get
and then you try to act all shocked and appalled when somebody takes a shot at you. You've been telling people to take shots at everybody for 10 fucking years. Like, what are you talking about?
And someone finally did it. And again, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
No one wants to see that happening, but at the same time,
no.
And then the crowd itself too, also acting like, okay, so words. Now words matter when your guy's affected by it, but all the way around, you don't give a shit.
Yeah. You've been playing with matches for 10 fucking years, and now all of a sudden you're pissed that you got a burn on your ear. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Lauren Boebert.
There is an element of this that's like serves your right. Again, you don't want to be cynical and you don't want to be reductive about a loss of life, but you just can't divorce yourself from it's like, oh my God, this is terrible. But dude, you had such a you and your supporters and your surrogates have been inflaming this condition in America for 10 fucking years.
Yeah, you can't be mad about that and then get mad when it's being done to you.
And really, it goes back to the heat getting turned up goes back to President Obama's election, as the Southern Poverty Law Center has been trying to tell us for 15 years. But it has gotten out of hand since President Trump entered the national conversation as a political candidate. And the people that ride his coattails and have made their way to Congress as a result of what he has done to the national discourse are fucking dangerous.
I'll find a comment from Lauren Boebert.
And it's tragic that this happened, but this shit is going to keep happening if they don't change their tune. Because Democrats are... Look, I have no love for Democrats, obviously. I vote for them when I have to, when I have no other choice, because they've fucked me in the primary or something like that, but I still won't vote for a fascist. Democrats are not calling for violence against their opponents and those who disagree with them. Mm-hmm. They're not. They're not saying that this is funny. They're not saying that it's okay. They're not saying that anyone deserved it. There's not a single prominent Democrat holding office in this country, like anybody that a camera or a microphone is going to be pointed at. Nobody is saying that. Rashida Tlaib is not calling for people to beat fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene with soap bars. AOC is not calling for people to slash Lauren Boebert's tires. You know what I mean? They're not doxing people who speak out against them. Like, those things don't happen.
I just hate the fact that we live in a place where everything is so binary, like either or aren't.
Yeah.
Dude,
I posted a thing the other day, or I'll read it because it might still be on my story, but I posted this thing and it's really quite simplistic. It's something actually one of my homies said to me because like he's a libertarian and he jokes, he makes fun of me for being a leftist and stuff like that. But he goes, really, you're not an ist of any kind. You just want, like, he's like, you just have empathy and you want people to be okay. And I was like, yeah. I want people to have houses and food and medicine and schools with functioning books and computers. Like, weird. But it says
yeah.
it's a meme from the Instagram account Brave New Films, and it says, "How was the left radicalized, bro? I'm not radicalized. Literally, all of my political views are just extrapolations of the most basic premises of human decency. Universal healthcare isn't radical. I figured that one out when I was like 8 years old. Get a grip." Like meet people where they're at. Not want them to starve. Not want them to die of preventable and treatable illnesses, and not be able to commodify their existence and their basic sustenance.
I was telling my wife yesterday.
Like, if that makes me a communist, well, then okay, comrade, let's go. But like, I just want people to be okay. Fine.
Yeah.
You know,
right? We just throw words out there to say throwing words because we're not comfortable with the conversation, and it's the problem. We don't have
within reason. I don't care what you call the party or what what the platform is or what our color is or whether it's a fucking elephant, a donkey, or a goddamn like marmot. Like, as long as the people that we're voting for and supporting are putting forth legislation, policy, and practice that houses, feeds, clothes, educates, and treats
the
people.
basics.
Yeah, like,
because hey, crime,
call me whatever ism you fucking want. That's what I support.
When you do that, crime goes down too also in the process because people.
But and I mean, you and I have like we could have a fucking like wacky FM DJ button for this. The best way to prevent crime is to interrupt poverty. Period. The end.
Like I was saying, a lot of people who commit crimes are not doing it because they want to. They do it because they're desperate.
Well, and if you look at places where crime is rising, the overwhelming majority of it is like poverty driven. It's it's property crime, shoplifting, welfare fraud, shit like that. Like, that's starving people stealing loaves of bread and being called 246.
Hey, I like to live. Like, I could just die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other option. So
we all fucking cried when Hugh Jackman sang his lungs out in Les Mis. Was no one paying attention to what the story was about, or were you just listening to the music?
I still never seen it.
Like,
to be honest with you, my wife has.
What's that?
I've never seen Les Mis yet. My wife probably has. I've seen it yet.
It's a heart-wrenching.
Right?
So for those who aren't aware, Les Mis is a heart-wrenching and just soul-crushing tale of people trying to survive in the French Revolution. And the main character is a man named Jean Valjean, who serves 8 years in prison for stealing a loaf of bread to feed his starving family and then trying to escape prison so that he could go back and feed his starving family. And then, tales of love and loss and poverty and solidarity, whatnot, in the French Revolution. So, yeah, it's like, was no one paying attention? Like, the whole point is that, like, sending someone to prison for stealing a loaf of bread is fucking abhorrent.
Yeah, and again, but it takes broadening.
And it was written by Victor Hugo, during or shortly after the French Revolution. So it was a fictional commentary on their condition in that moment.
Yeah. Okay, let's switch up here. So before this event this past weekend, Joe Biden was the talk of the town. After that horrible debate performance. Performance being the operative word, of course, because I still maintain that in terms of substance, I think they did well. But again, debates aren't about substance anymore; they're about optics.
Yeah, on substance, Nixon actually outperformed Kennedy, but nobody paid attention to that.
He's like a fucking pig. That's why in that debate. And Kennedy looked calm.
Yeah,
it's about optics. Same thing.
He looked like a sickly old man, and Kennedy looked like a fucking. He was ready to do push-ups.
I mean, Trump.
What's ironic is that Kennedy was actually the one suffering from like debilitating chronic illnesses, and fucking Nixon just had a cold.
Yeah, Trump looked better than Biden, but he lied his ass through the whole fucking thing.
Just when you think about that sentence and what Donald Trump looks like, especially when you see like high-resolution photos of him, and like, ugh. The fact that that's true is like gut-wrenching. But so, all right, let me just kind of like my whole thing on Joe Biden is kind of unchanged because I've not been a Joe Biden supporter at any point in my
Not only
life or
that,
his
but
political career.
not only that, but you and I, especially, can take credit for this. We've been saying he shouldn't run for the election. We've been saying
Yeah,
that, you and I.
like this has been our position
2 years.
since. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want him to get in. I was happy he stayed out of it in 2016. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want him then. But what it all comes down to still with Joe Biden, even if he's drooling and in a diaper and it comes out that he has Parkinson's, it comes back to civics class for me. In that you are not electing a president, you are electing an administration. And okay, fine. I don't agree with most of the people that President Biden would appoint either. You know, they have abhorrent positions on what's taking place in Gaza. They're not doing enough for racial, gender equity. They're like, it's just a whole bunch of things.
Right.
You know, Republicans have no principles and Democrats have no spine. All those things are true. However, what it ultimately boils down to me is something that you and I have talked about since the transition in 2017, because we knew what it was going to look like. It played out exactly like what we said it would, and it was a fucking disaster like we said it would be. And that is that of the umpteen hundred fucking presidential appointments, President Trump left dozens, if not over 100, vacant.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And number two, the ones he did appoint, in many or most cases, were grossly unqualified for the positions they held. Fucking Dr. Kooky Pants, I can't even think of his name right now. Pediatric neurosurgeon Moon Man. Ben Carson. Yeah, Dr. Ben Carson.
Had a HUD?
What
Had
the
a HUD?
fuck? Yeah. Betsy DeVos as education
That's
secretary.
the worst one. That was the worst one.
That was far and away one of the worst. Linda McMahon as the head of the Small Business Association. All she and her husband have done for the last 40 years is destroy and consume small businesses. Yeah. Like, the fuck? Yeah. And I mean, that's just the shit we can think of off the top of our head without looking at notes. Like, if we were to dig into it, it goes on and on and on and on. So it's like, at the end of the day, at least President Biden, like, and let's not forget, President Trump doesn't show up to fucking work. He sits around watching TV all goddamn day. He doesn't do the job. He doesn't read. He doesn't learn. So it doesn't matter even what he supports. He's just a fucking nincompoop. And at least President Biden appoints qualified people that I don't agree with. At least the fucking phones are getting answered and the paperwork is getting done. That was not happening under Trump. And part of the reason for that, again, comes back to Project 2025. They want to destroy a whole bunch of federal agencies and regulations, privatize it, and roll everything into Department of Homeland Security and Department of Defense. Dissolution of the FBI and the Justice Department. Like, the Justice Department would just take over the FBI.
So
it would, like, it's insanity. And it's not an accident. It's like I said, they want to destroy the EPA. They want to destroy HUD. They want to destroy the Department of Transportation. They want to destroy all these, you know, sort of unsexy government agencies that stand in the way of corporate profits.
So
in every industry.
Post-debate now with Joe Biden, there was a little bit of infighting about in the party whether or not he should run for re-election. He got the paint and all that.
And it seems like failed. I hate the people that are doing, like George Clooney and stuff.
Well,
it's
well, not only that, but it seems
late.
like ever since this situation happened with the Trump situation on Saturday, that's also made that lane clear that things have tempered down in that side of the aisle in terms of whether or not.
I think that goes away. So here's my thing on this is all these people like the Disney daughter and George Clooney and other donors and shit that are coming out saying like, oh, the gravy train is cut off until President Biden's out of the way. Like, where was that a year ago? You're a little fucking late to the party. And I think part of the problem is the same thing that we talked about back in 2015 with like why Bernie got fucked in the primaries, and that it's that the Democratic leadership are so busy sniffing their own farts that they genuinely didn't realize the house was on fire because they're in the fucking panic room. They don't care. Everything's burning down around them and they're in a fireproof box. So like, what do they care? And I think the debate and the panic of billionaires was finally the first thing that went, oh shit. Maybe this isn't as cool as we thought it was. This might be a problem. It's too fucking late. The election's in 5 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
Less. 3.5. Like,
I have a lot of debates with people on the left side of the aisle too, also, who are people who are on this podcast, who are regular on this podcast, and they tell me that they can't change now. They can't change course now. This and that. Biden's the guy.
No.
Biden's the guy. And I keep saying, you guys don't understand. My reaction isn't based off the debate. What the debate did for me, was reaffirmed.
You and I have been saying
you and I
were saying he was unqualified in 2020.
Mark, the debate only reaffirmed what I've been feeling for 2 years now. That's all it did for me.
4.5, you mean? We said this in the 2020 election that we were going to be holding our nose voting for Joe Biden to stave off, the fascist invasion.
Trump, yeah.
But like, we were not excited about that. I mean, we joked. I mean, I made the joke at least. Like, how does it feel, white people, to finally have to vote like black folks in this country? Just hold your nose and hope for the best. Like,
I remember that joke. Yeah, I remember that joke.
That shit was like 5 years ago. We said that. So,
that was great.
Yeah, like where y'all been?
Yeah, I'm with you, brother.
I have this one friend, like I have this one group chat of like normie friends, and it's happened repeatedly over the last 5-6 years, where somebody is pearl clutching some crazy shit that the right has done, whether it's J6 or something like that. And there's this one friend, I won't name him, but he always kind of like taps the sign. He goes, Mark been saying that since 2015, right?
It's not about being right, but
we were yelling at him. We were mad at him for shouting, but nobody was listening to what he was shouting about.
Yeah. Like, it's not about being right, but at the same time, it's like sometimes it's good to feel like to know, like, hey, by the way,
it's fun. It's fun when I don't have to. It's fun when I don't have to say it. Somebody else.
I don't want to be right, but sometimes it comes out. No, but like, and that's the thing. My reaction is mostly post debate. It's not post debate. It's more so what I've been saying for 18 months now. That and look, even 2020, you watched the debate from 3 weeks ago now, and the 2020 debates. There's a massive difference on Joe Biden. Massive difference.
Well, one of the things that you and I have talked about as we talk about like the evolution of people's worldviews and stuff is my dear sweet mom, and how dope she is and how much she's learned and grown and unlearned about, being white and growing up in largely the South and things like that. And even she was saying it, like she watched the debate and she texted me and she's like, fuck, this is such a disaster. And you've been saying it for years. Like, this is getting ugly.
At this point,
and she's like, I wish I was surprised. And it's like, even my damn near 70-year-old mom is like, yeah.
At this point, though, Mark, the writing's on the wall right now. If you believe the polls, which I tend to do, people, Democrats, some of the Democrats say, no, the polls are lying. This and that. I'm like, dude, but you're the same ones that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know that the polls are not representative of the electorate, and I am still hopeful that, good will win the day. However, it's pretty
clear, dude.
I at least have been saying the last 3-4 times I've been on the show, and we've talked about, specifically within the scope of how it pertains to the 2024 election. I've said at least since October 7th that Trump's going to win.
Yeah. the Gaza issue. There's so many pitfalls of Biden at this point now.
It was too many things, but that's what really broke it because, like, he's lost leftists.
Yeah, so you're getting now a voter apathy now.
You've just like in the Weimar, you fractured the center left from the far left with Gaza.
Yeah, but when I say that to certain friends of mine, and they're like, it won't be front of mine. It's still front of mine now, buddy. It's a lie. It's still front of mine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm hopeful, but after
Seriously.
this weekend, I just seeing
you
the
did a
number
little
of normies and
like
casual
you're buffering there a little bit.
Oh, is that me?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I think I'm back. Are we good?
Yeah, I think buffering a little bit. Let it catch up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting like 480 resolution on your video feed. It's starting to resolve a little better.
Yeah. You're good. You can go now. You're good.
We're back. Okay.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Help me out.
No, I'm talking about Gaza being, still front of mind in July.
Oh yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the end, I think, of President Biden's hopes for re-election. And then, when you get into the new year and it just continues to drag on and on and on, and more people are calling out for a ceasefire. The entire, South Africa is trying to bring international criminal charges against the Israeli leadership. Like, it's pretty obvious what's taking place here. And this unwavering support for Israel and the genocide that they're affecting upon the Palestinian people is a bridge too far for a lot of voters. And then when you couple that with just the obvious propaganda moment that this past weekend is going to prove to be, and the way that it has ensnared so many casual consumers and normies, to me is more indicative than the polling of how this is going to go.
Right. I see the writing on the wall at this point now. I mean, look,
I think a lot of the independents that don't pay attention are about to vote for President Trump because he's a hero now.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm saying. Then you have that angle now on top of that. The writing's on the walls.
And then voter apathy from the far left. It's like, I mean, voter suppression, voter apathy, and a little hit from some independents. It was all it was going to take to put Trump over the top. And so
I saw polling.
Pretty obvious that's what's going to happen.
Mark, I saw polling recently that they're saying now two things here. I'll frame for you, and you can respond to this. The Biden campaign is not even bothering putting money into Georgia or Nevada or Arizona because they look at that as Trump has those states, and even though they're swing states still, Trump has that in the bag. The focus of the Biden campaign, number one, is going to be on the blue states of Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, which he's behind all three right now currently in the polling. Okay. Number two,
New York's becoming a swing state now too.
I'm just getting there. Number two, they're saying that now New York and New Jersey could be in play. Virginia could be in play. Colorado. I think New York still go blue, but I think that. But watch the numbers. If the gap is closer than usual for a presidential election every 4 years, that's how you know how bad.
I think there's a tiebreaker you're not considering with your home state.
A state.
Well, with your home state, New York.
Oh no, they're going red.
What I'm saying is, I think New York is about to tip red, at a bunch of levels, and it is probably going to affect the top of the ticket because people left and right positively despise Kathy Hochul and Mayor Adams. Like Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams are two of the most hated people in New York, left, right, and center.
Mm. Do you think red? I think New York still go blue, but I think it'll be the numbers I want to look at. Like if it's not, normally it's like 70-30, blue to red. I believe
the energy in the city's bad. Let me put it that way. The energy in the city is bad. People fucking hate Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul.
But if I see like a 55-45 situation when it goes blue to red or it's closer, that's a concern for Democrats. And here's the thing.
Oh no, I think when the polling comes out that is conducted sampling the electorate in the immediate aftermath of this weekend, like say the polling that's being done right now or has started on Monday or whatever, and then we're going to see the results of in a couple of days. I think President Trump's about to take a big jump, like 6-8 points at least.
Oh yeah.
And I think he's going to be well outside the margin of error in most polling averages.
Yeah. If not now, after this weekend.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, I haven't looked at polling in a month,
there's
so
no
I
polling.
couldn't tell you.
There's no recent polls coming out yet since the attempt on his life. But
Yeah, since that, yeah, now looking at polls doesn't matter until the shit that's being conducted right now comes out.
Yeah, these are the polls I care about. But like I said, they're saying Virginia, New York, New Jersey could be in play for Republicans. Colorado's a blue state, could be in play for
Yeah.
Republicans. That's a bad sign. But here's the thing. If you're a
Well, and
Democrat,
the other thing is it's going to ultimately also have a major impact down ballot, which is the thing
that's the
that's
biggest
going to
concern.
more dramatically impact people's day-to-day
That's the
lives.
biggest concern Democrats
Is the trickle down of local candidates, state level candidates, and national candidates running for, like, say, the House or Senate are not going to be able to campaign in their district with the help of the president, and being all, it's a whole bunch of things. And the sour taste voters are feeling for the president, that shit runs downhill to your school board and to your state house and to your city council and county board of supervisors. And those are the areas that, like, when maggots start getting on school boards is when you need to worry. That's when teachers start getting fired for teaching people about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And it's when some Proud Boy affiliate manages to get on the county board of supervisors or something like that. Like, that's the shit you need to worry about. And I think that's what we're poised for. I think it's gonna be like they talked about the red wave before. I think 2024 is probably a lot more likely to be an actual red wave than 18 or 20 or 22.
Because you can't keep using Roe v. Wade anymore. You can't go into the hill that you can't using Trump fascism, Trump this,
Well,
Trump that.
I mean, unless Joe
now.
Biden starts, unless Joe Biden had started trying to pack the court 6 months ago, then you could use Roe. But, like, there's no conceivable way that Roe is ever going to be codified, because the Congress is completely deadlocked on any kind of legislation that might smack of anything progressive.
Yeah.
And then anything that comes before the court is going to lose again, because there's not enough justices who are not conservative.
I think
It's pretty straightforward.
If you're the Democratic Party, I think your priority right now should be the following. At this point, look, obviously you try to win the election. Obviously you try what you can. But my bigger concern now is down ballot. Because if you're going to limit Trump's power, you need to set it to hold. And need to have
you have to win Congress. You have to win state houses, because you're going to need your governor and your state legislature to be standing up with other like-minded states against the federal government for what's about to come.
Right. And Joe Biden is now a risk now. He's a risk to those down ballots.
No, I would even go farther than say he's an outright threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's dead weight on your campaign at this point.
We're in a situation now where Trump wins now, and I think he's going to get mid-300s electoral votes. Mid-300s.
Yeah.
He'll be the first Republican since George W. Bush to win elections convincingly in both the electoral and the popular vote.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time since 2004 that a Republican wins the popular vote.
Right, but the first time they actually won convincingly since '88.
Well, no, yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, because 2004 was still close.
Still close. It was like 270 something to 260 something. It was very close.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be like 310, 320 plus.
I think more than that, honestly. If you're telling me they already gave up on Nevada, they gave up on Georgia, they gave up on Arizona. Okay,
that's like 20 votes right there, isn't it?
That's 20 plus. Okay, then you have
28, something like that.
Right. Then you have he's already down in Pennsylvania. That's 20 something electoral votes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's 20 something electoral votes. Okay. Wisconsin, I think, is 13, I believe. Okay.
Well, in Michigan and Wisconsin, two of the groups that you count on are the far left and the Middle Eastern and East African communities.
When you tell me that Gaza won't matter last year, and I told you it won't matter in July, and they still matter now, you're behind the polls, Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
How you
gonna go win Michigan when Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have been screaming at you for months to call for a ceasefire in Gaza, to stop sending money to fucking Netanyahu and these murderers? And then you're gonna come to their state and tell a whole bunch of Middle Eastern people and Muslims who are watching people who look like them get massacred in the street by the thousand that you're the guy to lead them out of this? Like, are you fucking high?
And for the record, I'm not.
What are you smoking? It's clearly good, and I want some. Like,
it's not like you won Michigan by a lot of votes. You only won by 10,000 votes in a state that has 20,000 Americans. God bless you.
I mean, those are going to be the states where you see a lot of voter apathy, I believe.
Yeah, I
Michigan,
believe
Wisconsin,
100%.
Minnesota to a lesser extent.
We missed this one before we close out politics. J.D. Vance, now officially Donald Trump's running mate. Not surprised. I said for months on this podcast that he would be he was my dark horse to be his running mate. I thought it'd be like Tim Scott or Ben Carson.
Yeah, I didn't think it. I genuinely didn't think it would be a white guy. But then when I'm like, yeah, he doesn't care at this point. He's just doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Right. But J.D. Vance,
it's unbridled. We're into the unbridled fascism part of the campaign now.
Now, I did clap back at you and my wife yesterday a little bit about this, because you guys kept showing me both some of the clip of him from 2016 calling Trump almost like a Hitler, whatever, that kind of thing.
And I want to touch on that real quick, and just to say that, like, he is yet another person who said mean things about Trump before Trump became a serious candidate, and then as soon as he became a serious candidate, he fell in line just like all these other fucking characterless assholes. So yeah, he's just another fucking charlatan that's going to say whatever he needs to say to get ahead and get a check, and that'll be the end of it. But it's important to point out he did say these things, and that he is not a Republican with any more principle than any of the others. And he took 500,000 in his last campaign from the NRA. He has very openly said that women who've been abused should stay in their relationships. He is in support of putting an end to contraception. He does support a federal ban on abortion. So, I mean, he's just yet another fuck that guy for me.
All I was saying, though,
shout out to the new abnormal.
Yeah. All I was saying to you was that, he's no different than many, many people. Not just politicians, but people I know who hated Trump 2016 and now on line with him now in 2024.
It's the same shit that I've been telling you, that, like, I knew my dad was laughing in heaven because the way the hotel ownership and finance community hated Donald Trump and his sons for years and made fun of them and rolled their eyes anytime somebody called Donald Trump a hotel tycoon or a mogul or things like that. Like, anybody at those conferences that I used to go to all the time couldn't stand the fucking president. And then as soon as he became the Republican nominee in 2016, the whole thing changed. Suddenly Trump Hotels is now prominently featured as like a marquee sponsor at all the big shows. All the Trump Hotel executives are on all the most exclusive panels with like the Hilton and Marriott guys. Like, it was all so fucking gross and transparent. And it's the same. And that's just yet another example of it. It's that people are self-interested. It's that Ayn Rand fucking Gordon Gekko shit that we've been dealing with for 45 years. Yeah. And people ultimately, I mean, I was talking about this with my mom. There's a journalist that we know from like childhood. And this person has gone to work for a conservative outlet and completely sold out. And it's that people want to be famous. People want to be powerful. People, it's interesting. We talk about, or I talk about, like, Behind the Bastards a lot on the Robert Evans podcast on Far and Away, Cool Zone Media. Robert's the shit. I will plug that podcast for free until the day I die, until Robert hears me and invites me on, even though I'm not famous or noteworthy at all.
Maybe this podcast helps. Maybe being on my podcast all these years helps. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe.
But he recently did a very deep dive into Thomas Jefferson and some very specific parts of his legacy. You know, it's like his biography is readily available, his opinions are readily available. It wasn't about that. It was really about dissecting like sort of the problematic dichotomy of his lifestyle versus his assertions in writing. And he basically admits this, and it's that despite all of the incredibly poignant and reasonable and noteworthy assertions he made about government and law and policy and how all these things should take place, he straight up says that the comforts his life affords him because of slavery and rape and murder and human trafficking and abuse and all of this afforded him a lifestyle that was so comfortable he couldn't give it up. He had a house of tomorrow that was entirely powered by enslaved people. So, you know, he had a panel in his wall in his in his dining room with a dumbwaiter, little elevator, where he would tap on the wall and an enslaved person down below in the kitchen would be waiting. And he would put an empty bottle in the dumbwaiter. They'd run it on a pulley down, grab a fresh bottle, send it back up so that he never had to leave his chair. And then magically bottles of wine just appeared out of the wall. So he had all kinds of crazy innovations in technology in his home like this, but they weren't mechanically powered. They were human powered. And yeah, like he basically says, I was Walt Disney in 1780. And it was really fucking cool. So despite my beliefs on freedom and personal liberty and all these other things, yeah, I don't want to give up my enslaved people because they make my life really easy.
Right.
And that's kind of where we are with politics writ large. And it's not just on the right. It's just the most egregious and flagrant on the right.
Yeah. Does J.D. Vance move the needle for the campaign?
I honestly don't know. I don't think it matters. It genuinely doesn't matter, as anyone has taught us. Like, you know, the Trump touch is not transferable. People just care about Trump. So, like, you could be his fucking running mate. It
not only
matter.
that, if this was 2016 and we didn't know how Trump would govern and all that, if like, so for example, 2016, I'm an evangelical, for example. I don't know if I like this guy, but how will he govern? 2020, 2024, I like him because he did govern the way I wanted him to. Therefore, it doesn't matter what he does at this point. Now he has that entire base all covered now.
Yeah. So, well, but also the problem in this country, though, we can't keep talking about the broader church without talking about how American Christianity has become Christofascism. Because what Christians in this country refuse to accept and refuse to stop lying about is that America was founded as a Christian nation. No, the fuck it wasn't. That's why it's in literally the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. No law respecting an establishment of religion. Period. The end. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, numerous other founding fathers wrote about this shit at length, from the Treaty of Tripoli to their letters to their notes. Like, it's all very plain. And the other point of Christianity, like, as a Christian, I am deeply offended by your brand of Christianity because, for example, Christianity is what turned me left. Jesus didn't, like, you would put Jesus in a camp today. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene would lock Jesus up.
He'd be a socialist, dude. I mean, his whole. If you actually read your Bible,
feed the poor, pray in private, care for the least among us.
He was literally probably something close to what socialist is than what a modern day Christian represents. Honestly,
thank you.
He was not a suit and tie. He was not a suit and tie guy. He was not corporations. He was
literally
anti-capitalism.
Okay. Look at all of these like fucking prosperity preachers, whether it's like your Creflo Dollars or your Joel Osteens or whatever, all these mega church dickheads, whatever. Jesus literally overturned the table of the Pharisees for handling money in the temple. Like,
yeah,
it's one of his like most famous and noteworthy like
Moments in the Bible.
disruptions of the status quo.
Without question.
He was killed for being a political disruptor. He was upsetting the order. He pissed off the law and order candidates.
And again, Mark, no one's saying for them not to be a Catholic, all that stuff, but just don't hide it under the guise of Jesus Christ and Christianity.
If that's how you want to live your life, fine. If that's how you want to worship, fine. Your faith is not law. Your faith is not policy. Your faith does not dictate my fucking life or anyone else's.
Right.
No more than mine does yours. So I think, talking about evangelicals in any kind of reasonable or by any kind of rational standard at this point in the game, we're past that. Because they've demonstrated they're unserious, bad faith actors that only care about advancing their position at any cost, and they'll say and do whatever is necessary to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Truth, history, law be damned.
Yeah, and it's in the law. You can't be constitutional conservative and not know the law. It's in the bill.
Exactly.
Literally bill rights.
Exactly.
All right, let's pivot to some basketball talk. Some obviously basketball talk. Lakers, Bronny James. It's a thing now. Bronny James. Okay. Where are you on? Where are you on the Bronny James thing?
I don't even care. The Lakers are such a fucking grease fire outside of Bronny James. Like that's a sprinkle. Like Bronny James is a sprinkle on a shit Sunday. Okay. Like
hardcore Laker fan here too, for the record. Hardcore Laker fan.
It's embarrassing. It's funny because I've talked about before, the difficulties, just with time zones and stuff of watching or staying interested in LA sports and whatnot. No, I take a lot of that back. It has everything to do with the quality of the product on the court or the field. The Lakers are fucking unwatchable, and I managed to watch a whole lot of Dodger games. Dodgers haven't looked so hot the last week and a half or so, 2 weeks, but as a whole, they're
my team is hot too, so I can't talk shit. So.
Yeah, they're the second best team in the National League and one of the prohibitive favorites to go to the World Series against the Yankees or the Orioles or something. So the odds of us getting a Dodgers-Yankees World Series are probably some of the best they've been in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it's definitely not a time thing. It's a priority thing, and I can't make the Lakers a priority when they're this fucking terrible.
I've known you now 12 years, and I never see you more disoriented and so disengaged in the Lakers than you are in the last year.
I would say it was close to. I would say it was close to hurt Kobe and the kids. That was rough, especially. And then those first 2 years with no LeBron and just all the kids and no Kobe, that. That's probably right up there with this. I would say those.
But it was gradual. It was
neck and neck for worst ever time period.
The Lakers are still pretty good, but they're not title team.
I think the biggest problem is that LeBron is a bad GM and a bad team builder. And the more that your front office lets LeBron and his people dictate the conversation about who you're signing and who you're trading for and what moves you're making and how you're paying people, your team's not going to succeed.
I'm of the opinion that, look, the whole nepotism thing, number one, it's not nepotism. That's not real nepotism. Because number one,
it's not
nepotism. He doesn't own the Lakers. If he owned the Lakers and then he tried to drive Bronny anyway, that happened, okay? If anything, I hold Lakers responsible for that more than LeBron because again they could say no.
That's a failing of the Lakers scouting staff more than it is.
Say no.
Yeah.
So let's start there. Is it a cool story? Yeah, it's just a cool story. But my pushback.
We're gonna get our Ken Griffey Sr. Jr. moment in basketball now.
Right.
That's dope.
My only pushback on the whole thing, though, fine. Mark, is that in watching him last year, the little I watched him in USC. He didn't spell NBA ready to me.
No,
that's all.
Didn't he average 4 points a game at a crappy D1s on a bad team, or on an okay team?
Yeah. He doesn't look NBA ready to me.
Yeah, you're not NBA ready, my guy. Like, but you know what? Here's the thing. I wouldn't care one way or the other, even if like the Lakers were fucking around sniffing championships right now and they picked up Bronny James just to keep LeBron happy. Like, I don't care. The team is a mess. The players we have are not advancing our interests. Like, they are not getting us any closer to the mountaintop than we are right now. And they haven't made any moves to change. They haven't made any moves to that, in my opinion, make us any more likely to win a championship than we were at any point in the last 3 years. So cool.
Yeah.
Enjoy Nick Van Exel's number, and I won't be watching. So
oh damn,
have fun.
You're not watching at all?
What? Why would I watch him just get their ass? Watch LeBron play really impressively, Anthony Davis play up and down really impressively, and most nights be the best player on the floor, if not the most.
You just helped last year, though.
While not being the most electric on the floor. And then a whole bunch of people who can't make catch and shoot threes, can't play fucking defense, can't get a stop, can't close a game.
You are frustrated. My God, I've never seen this before. Oh my God, this is the
moving to
low
Long Island made me more direct, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my, yeah. That you living in New York now may actually changed you. If I see you become a Giants fan, we're gonna be best friends. I'm telling you right
now. No. I'm because I don't give a shit enough about football to like give up on the rant. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, two of the guys that I hang out with the most here are diehard Bills fans, and so more than anything, like I want to get decked out in red, white, and blue with them and go to a game in Buffalo and like jump through a table or something like that. That to me is way more appealing than any fucking team in Jersey. At least Buffalo's in New York.
you do know that Giants also wear red, white, and blue also do this record.
Well, of course, but they're in New Jersey.
I know.
They're the New Jersey Giants.
No, I get it.
See, I'm learning. I'm becoming very local. Fuck
yes,
New Jersey.
You are.
Like...
Any other thoughts on NBA free agency? Not, you have to go too crazy here. Just any thoughts? Klay Thompson, Dallas. Paul George, Philly. Anything?
Yeah, there's some weird. I mean, I'm happy for Paul George that he's no longer a Clipper. But.
Leave it to Mark from a Clipper dig every podcast we do. Dig at the Clippers. That doesn't change. Lakers may suck now, but I'll still make fun of the Clippers no matter what.
Pick up that stadium in Inglewood that you're building and just move it to San Diego.
Well, good news for Clippers. Get the arena finally. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, I bet you that that thing's going to be fuller for the Olympics than it is for any Clipper game.
Damn. That's
but nothing to that, right? No, honestly, what I'm more excited watching than any NBA action that I watched this year or anticipating. I'm having a blast watching the WNBA. I am a huge fucking Angel Reese fan. Like, I want her to win Rookie of the Year, and I always root for the Sparks, but like right now, I'm just loving watching the NBA. The Aces are fucking amazing to watch. Asia Wilson balls her ass off. While I'm annoyed with just like how much, how Caitlin Clark is like the media basically is treating like fucking Taylor Swift with a basketball. Like that part of it is really annoying to me, but I actually love Caitlin. I love her approach. I love the way she talks about all of this, the way she poo-poos all of it, the way she doesn't tolerate the ass whoopings that people are trying to level on her, and she comes out and plays her game. Like she's going to be great for the sport for years to come. I'm super excited to watch the girls go kick ass in Paris. Yeah, I'm probably more excited for women's basketball right now than I am for men's across the board, NBA and international.
And one last thing to get out of here. You kind of touched a little bit on the Dodgers. This baseball as a whole right now. How you feeling about the season right now? All-Star break now. All-Star games tonight. Where are you?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off,
on fire. Did you guys on fire? What's going on?
Yeah, so I've actually been watching a lot more baseball. Not like the good old days of being able to watch like 60, 80 games start to finish. I just don't have the fucking attention span anymore. But I've attended a number. So I've now caught the Dodgers at Citi Field, at Yankee Stadium, both wins for the Dodgers. In the case of the Mets, it was a decisive win. And then managed to go catch him in Philly last week, which Citizens Bank Park is absolutely beautiful. And I have to say, despite the reputation that like Philly has with like its sports fans and it being like a rough town and, don't wear away jerseys and Philly kind of shit, the Citizens Bank Park hospitality staff is one of the best I've ever encountered at a baseball game. Like that ballpark is phenomenal. The food was great. The staff was helpful. Bathrooms were plentiful. Like all the things you want in terms of fan experience. Citizens Bank Park was great. It's just Dodgers took a fucking 10-1 ass whooping and finished the game with Kike Hernandez on the mound. So it's never an ending you like to see. But Dodgers are the second best team in baseball. They're looking really strong in the All-Star break. Every prominent star in baseball is saying how they want to play with Shohei Ohtani. Ellie De La Cruz is out there saying he's trying to learn Japanese. Juan Soto saying he wants to play with Shohei. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and say crazy shit about who we're going to get or who's got, but like the present is fun and the future is bright. So like, yeah. Let's go fucking Dodgers. And Teoscar Hernandez has been an incredibly bright spot on the roster this year, playing fantastic in the outfield and then winning the home run derby last night. Like that was huge. So, and with Fernando Tatis out of the game tonight, he gets the start. He gets the bump to the starting spot and will be batting 8th tonight. So I think you got like 6 All-Stars on the from the Dodgers, or 5 All-Stars from the Dodgers this year. Obviously, Mookie Betts isn't playing, but he was, elected. So yeah, baseball is fucking awesome, and I'm having fun. I'm actually really enjoying rooting for the Yankees too, because I want to see a Dodgers. No, because I got a lot more of my friends are Yankees fans than Mets fans, even on Long Island. And I want to see a Yankees Dodgers. I want to see a Yankees Dodgers World Series. So
guess what? I fucking don't. I fucking don't want to see a fucking
Yes, you
Dodgers.
do. Yes, you do. Shut up. Yes, you do. You want to see it happen.
The 3 teams I hate the most in baseball: the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. And all the best teams in baseball.
Well, I mean, but a missile can't hit the stadium and take out both teams if the Yankees and Dodgers aren't in the World Series and make your dream come true.
That's true.
Just saying.
My Dodger hate is less though. Like I have no consequence. I don't hate the Dodgers the same way, because it's one of those things where, like, okay, I got baseball as a kid, 86, 87, 88. Who's our biggest rival at the time? It's the Dodgers. So it kind of
at that time, sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. Like, I hate the Yankees, because my brother made fun of me because he's a Yankee fan. I hate the Phillies because they're the biggest rival in the division. So I mean, it's one of those things. The Dodgers. There's really no reason to hate the Dodgers. Really, honestly, I love that life. So I mean, like, but
no, it's very much generational, because throughout history, the Dodgers and Mets haven't been rivals. I mean, the Mets literally adopted the Dodgers blue as an homage because of the Dodgers leaving town. So, no, well, and that, it's funny, because that's what I talk about when people say, like, oh, how do you root for the Yankees if you're a Dodger fan? I said, well, first of all, most of the worst of the rivalry happened before baseball was integrated. So, and then even at that, I don't think the Dodgers and Yankees haven't played in the World Series since like 1981 or 82. So not even in my old ass lifetime.
So long.
And so for me, what I noticed too, wearing Dodger gear in New York bars and wearing Dodger gear at Yankee Stadium and shit like that, is that it's a very friendly rivalry. It's almost sort of like we're cousins who occasionally box in the backyard, because we're both the 2 juggernaut teams from the 2 biggest markets. There's a lot more similar about LA and New York than there are different, and certainly more than either city will admit. And so the Yankees and Dodgers are both kind of, they're the 2 rich kids that get to do whatever the fuck they want, and and run wild in the Hamptons with no parents.
I'll say this: when you guys play the Phillies, though, I root for you guys, because I hate the fucking Phillies. They're number 1 on my list of teams I hate.
Well, that's like I'd root for the Mets if they're playing the Giants, in the NLCS or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
100%. I'll root against the Padres. Like, in that, even that's not a rivalry. I just can't stand them.
Yeah,
they're annoying.
I just hope this Mets turnaround that we've seen the last like 2 months is not fool's gold. Like right now, if the playoffs are, they're in the playoffs. They'll walk right now. So I'm proud of that. I'm actually engaged.
And I think the Pittsburgh Pirates have been excited. The Pittsburgh Pirates have been exciting as hell to watch too. Like, I'm literally trying to get to a game. I want to go see a game against like either the Phillies or the Mets in Pittsburgh. Like, I think that would be really exciting right now.
Safe to say that right now you're a bigger baseball guy than basketball guy.
Well, I always said baseball was my first love and basketball was my true love. So I'll always waver between the two.
Likewise.
Because The other thing is, like, think about the quality of basketball that we grew up with. And I'm not just being like a fucking old guy on the porch bitching about the young kids. Like, the product was better 20 years ago.
I think
There are things about it that are really fun and really exciting, but the game as a whole feels very over commodified, and
explain that to listeners
it just
in detail, I guess.
it's something that, like, we talk about in gaming, for example, in video games, about how everything is just fucking paywalled microtransactions trying to extract money from you, whether it's like WWE or NBA or Madden or these games, and it's like everything is just trying to make a buck at every touch point. It feels the same way in basketball. And honestly, it feels the same way in baseball, at least on the merchandise front.
And football
just look
too,
at what
especially.
they're doing. Yeah, well, of course. But I don't have as much intimate, like, I can't speak to some of the intricacies of it in football the way I could with basketball or baseball.
Right.
But just like the NBA just feels so much more plastic to me. In baseball, no matter how much you commodify it, always kind of, I don't know, it just has this like romance to it that's different than other sports. And there's baseball always like finds moments to be beautiful, even when things aren't, Vin Scully talking after resuming play at, when baseball resumed after 9/11, and, the kid getting a bat from a player. It's just like, there's just like, it's like that line in Moneyball, how can you not be romantic about baseball? It's just, there's something warmer and fuzzier about baseball right now. Like, all professional sports are commodified bullshit, but like baseball, I don't know. It just feels a little warmer, a little fuzzier, a little more.
No, I get it. I get it.
Slightly more pure, a little more concentrated joy.
I watch it less than other sports, obviously the other two sports, but I do feel like when I go to a game, there's a certain romanticism when I go to a game. I enjoy going to a baseball game more than any other sport. I do, without question.
Like, yeah, and like, for example, like, I think about it through the scope of, like, if I take a date, I'm watching the action way more closely at a baseball game than a basketball game.
Absolutely.
I'm paying way more attention to the game at a baseball. Now, if, like, I went to the Yankees-Red Sox game recently. I didn't have I was wearing a Yankees jersey. It was a Babe Ruth jersey, by the way. So, like, even my Dodger fan friends are like, okay, well, that's acceptable because it's Babe Ruth.
Do you think that a lot of it has to do with the and hear me on this. I get you out after this. Do you think a lot of with basketball, for example, is it a issue with both players and, of course, executives? Is it player empowerment that's made it worse for the league?
No, I'm going to put very little on the players because, I mean, we can see throughout professional sports that the talent on the field, the talent on the court, the talent on the ice is where the money should be going. They're doing the heavy lifting of the product.
Right.
So, no, I am not mad at players that aren't very good getting inexplicable $50 million a year contracts because front offices in other markets are morons. Like, no. Give all the fucking bench players $300 million contracts, as far as I'm concerned. Get the play. I could give a shit about players getting paid and how much they're getting paid and all of that. No, I'm more concerned with just like all the little ways they're going to try to fuck us out of the viewing experience, make everything a subscriber fee. The way that like jersey quality and merchandise quality is just like
anymore.
Yeah, all these blackouts, like the fact that it's 2024 and I still can't stream a local market game on when I pay for an MLB subscription because of some stupid agreement between fucking Yes and baseball and whatever. Like,
but
there's just a lot of that shit that drives me crazy. So no, it's the same in the NBA with the streaming. I mean, I just tipped it back to baseball, but it's the same in the NBA.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in Los Angeles and you have the NBA package on your phone, you cannot watch a Laker game, or, like, for example, when the Dodgers come to town and play the Yankees or the Mets, I can't sit in my living room and watch the fucking game on my Apple TV through my MLB subscription because it's blacked out by Yes or SNY.
Yeah.
So
I'm defensive of the NBA more so because I love the NBA. So I'm a little critical. Like I said, I love my kids. I love my kids. I'm critical of my kids. I think
I will give it to Adam that he is the most nimble and adaptive of all the major commissioners. Like Rob Manfred's a terrible fucking commissioner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, I love baseball, but fucking Rob Manfred's terrible at it. Like if we could have Adam in the MLB, I'd be like, let's go.
Yeah. So
he is a good, like he does things I don't agree with, or he makes bitch moves about suspensions or something. I'm like, oh fuck that, whatever. But as a whole, I think his tenure has been extremely productive, and certainly more so than like David Stern was productive, but he was an asshole. I don't get the same feeling about Adam Silver.
But I think but David Stern also, I would argue, probably has more respect because of how he handled things.
Well, sure, and I mean, he was what, the NBA commissioner for 25 years or something like that. Adam Silver
84 to 2013, I think it was, to 12, 13.
Yeah, so there you go. So no, I just feel like Adam Silver's tenure hasn't gone on long enough, but that he has done great things with the league as a whole, and like changes he's made,
and he's been able to modify things. Not adding the rule.
Yeah.
No,
I think the game is soft. I think the refs are a pain in the ass. I think they make themselves a part of the game entirely too often. I think
the fact I know referees' names and their history, what they do, this and that. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Like I shouldn't know about Scott Foster having an issue with 11 different players.
Yes, exactly. That's a problem. That's not a good thing. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and I do think, okay, look. Obviously the rough and tumble play of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and guys getting up and punching each other after hard fouls is not something you want. But we've gone too far the other way.
Right. That's the problem.
And the fact that it takes 45 minutes to get through the last 6 minutes of play, because every time somebody takes 3 steps, it's a fucking whistle. Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm with you on that
one. It was more like it was kind of sugar coated in the regular season, but then they let them play a little more in the playoffs. We've completely moved away from that, and it's just not fun to watch.
My only issue to this day, and I've been critical of this the last couple years, I'll continue to say this with players, is a lack of self-awareness, missing games for a little tweak and injury. That's why I miss Kobe Bryant. That's why I miss Michael Jordan, because those guys played that understood that guy may pay for a ticket they couldn't afford.
It's like why Jimmy Butler could get a leg amputated midseason and he's still your MVP for that reason alone.
But even Jimmy misses games now too, also, and I don't like that.
No, and I mean, some of it I imagine comes from the coaching and training staff.
Absolutely, the players take front of it, but
Yeah, I'm sure. I imagine Jimmy is one of those dudes that's going, "Do not fucking sit me. Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. So that's my only issue with the NBA players. Other than that, I love the sport still, no matter what. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm with you. There's some things we change. I would like to see more physical play in the league, definitely going forward. But that's all.
Yeah,
Mark, phenomenal podcast, hour and a half.
This is a good one.
It's an excellent one. We had to get it in. It's been a long time, and we have to start doing a little more of these now because we're down to the last couple months of the election. So obviously, we'll have to start doing more of these going forward. So.
Sounds great, man. Thanks for having me. This was
anything
amazing.
Want to plug? Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything on the charity side? Anything on the?
Unfortunately, I don't have any big initiatives going on right now, but I will always plug HAC and invite everybody to go check out hacglobal.org and donate to our ongoing efforts in both Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and here in the United States. Also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, X, whatever, at HAC_US and at HAC_Haiti, so that you can understand all the different things we're working on and the different programs that we have going. Our school, I think we did cover this one of the last times I was here. Our primary facility in Croix-des-Bouquets was ransacked and destroyed, and it is not safe for us to return or attempt to rebuild yet. So we're going to continue to evaluate that as time goes on. The political situation in Haiti continues to evolve, but that doesn't mean our work stops. Our work in the DR is ongoing. Our work in the southern departments is ongoing, and that work doesn't happen without the support of viewers like you, as they say on PBS.
Yeah.
So
that was good.
Yeah. We
You
don't
then
get
voice
any
out.
help from the Ford Foundation. We don't get any help from the National Endowment for the Arts. So we depend on viewers like you.
By the way, I still
Not a
have
bad
your
broadcast voice, right?
that's what I'm saying. By the way, I still have on my YouTube shorts on my YouTube page your Mitch McConnell imitation from last year. Fucking phenomenal.
Oh, I'd have to actually like I've done so many other voices lately. I don't know that I could actually like just do that one off the top of my head. I think I'd have to like listen to some stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Mark, good job as always, man.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Can't wait to come back.
Anytime, brother. Stop.
Why